Hi everyone, bonjour, bonsoir, welcome back. In this video, we'll be doing a lock reattachment. So you guys just saw a preview of the reattachment. So this is her hair before. Her hair is very fine, and we're gonna go ahead and reattach these locks to her head. Why were they cut in the first place? It's none of my business. But it is my business to reattach them as she requests. So that's what we're gonna do here. As I usually do, I part out the hair first to see what I'm working with, how many locks are going back in, and I can really test my part to size, part to lock ratio by parting the hair first instead of parting as I go. Because once you've parted as you go, it's too late. So, at least for me it is. But here I'm just reattaching just like I would attach lock extensions. The only difference is I combed out or opened up a little bit at where the hair was cut at. So I'm gonna attach her loose hair to that part of the lock, just really lightly, nothing too tight. And then I'm gonna go up to basically my limit when it comes to reattaching, because I want to leave enough hair for a retwist, but not too much that it's so much hair hanging or so much of a coil hanging and then you have a lock. And this is the tool that I'm using. You guys can get this link in the description. My Etsy store. It's a triple needle and it is a 0.5 size. I like to use a 0.5 when I'm reattaching natural hair or when I'm doing really small lock extensions. If I'm doing big lock extensions, I like to use the 0.75. Both are in my Etsy store. Link is in the bio, so go check it out. So I'm just continuing to just form her natural hair, kind of like instant locking her natural hair as, or not her natural, but her loose hair, as I am integrating it into the lock. So now that I see the form that I have, now I'm gonna go in and tighten it to make sure it's secure, and then to try and have that an instant lock match the size of the natural locks. So that's basically what I'm doing here, and as you can see, it's getting harder and harder to take that needle in and out of the newly formed lock and the attachment. That means it's getting tight. And I always tell people when they ask how do you know it's secure, or if I'm teaching someone how to attach, if it's super hard to take that needle out, then you know you're doing it right. If the needle can come out easily or just with a little force, you need to do a little bit more to make it secure. So this is a different view here of me reattaching the locks. And once again, as I said, I combed out a little bit of the natural lock right where it was cut. And I'm gonna pull the ends of her loose hair into that lock and just keep pulling until I feel like it's a semi-secure connection. And then I'm gonna go up and instant lock her hair. Because her hair is so long, I feel like, well, not so long, but long to the point where there would be hair left over. I feel like it's better to instant lock the hair and have it more seamless than to kind of start the attachment closer to her root, where now there'll be so much hair to try and pull inside of that lock, and it will make the lock look bigger than it actually is. So it's best to do it this way to get it more seamless and have a congruent size throughout her, from her scalp to where the lock is reattached. Now, after the lock is reattached, after all the locks are reattached, she can go get a retwist. She can dye them to match her jet black hair here. She can do pretty much whatever you could do with natural locks with them. Only thing that I advise her not to do in the beginning is no conditioner. Conditioner is a detangler. It will help it slip. She can still oil her scalp, but even with extensions and natural lock reattachments, it is best to focus on the scalp and not as much the hair or the hair that you've reattached. It's good to wash to keep it clean and use the residual oil down the lock, but to apply oil directly to it is not necessary, and that may cause some slippage. So here I'm going to continue to instant lock her hair as I attach the locks to her loose hair. And I always try to have not try, but I always have the hooks up, because if the hooks are down, if they are down, you now have more risk for injury, and you're not really controlling what you're doing. So it's always best to, when you are attaching hair to anything interlocking, using this tool in general, to be very intentional, because you can really hurt yourself. Hence why I have that band-aid on my index finger, because I scratched myself with the needle. It wasn't bad. It was like a paper cut, but I've seen worse. I've seen the needle go through people's fingers. I've seen it go through their nail beds. Whew, Lord. If you're going to attempt to do this, please be intentional. Be careful. Practice, and eventually it will be like nothing to you, but definitely safety first. And here I am attaching the final lock into her hair, and all in all, this took about four-ish hours, around 4 hours. But then after this, I washed her hair, and then of course dryer time made it a solid 5, maybe a little bit more than 5 hours. But yeah, that's about it. I believe we attached close to 100 locks. I don't remember the exact number. I believe it was close to 100 though. And here are her luscious long locks. They looked really good. And I always wash after I attach extensions or I reattach locks, just to check, not only check my work, but also to reassure myself that I did a good job and there was a secure attachment, and also to give that complimentary service that I feel like a lot of hair care professionals are getting away from. Like, if I can't wash someone's hair before I do it, I don't feel right, or after I do it, or in some form or fashion during the appointment, I don't feel right as a hairstylist, as someone who calls myself a hair care professional. So yes, I always try to wash unless it's not necessary. If someone already washed their hair, then I'm not gonna dry their hair out with more washing. But yes, so here I'm just retwisting her hair with I've oiled her scalp, and I'm using Super Grow gel. It's a natural hair gel. It's supposed to wash out, but I'm really using a very light amount, because I wanted to really gather up all her hairs, because I know she has to travel back home, and she's nowhere near me, so I will not be maintaining her hair, and I wanted her to have a clean, nice retwist. You can of course get this without gel, but I just wanted to not only help pick up all her hairs, but I wanted to also lay those edges. So we use just a very small amount, very tiny amount of Super Grow gel. I feel like any gel that you use, no matter how great, how super natural the gel is, too much of anything is a bad thing. A lot of people can get away with using gel because they understand moderation, but or some people even use gels from time to time and they take a break, which I think is cool. But here is the finished product. Her retwist came out very nicely. We dried for, I believe, about an hour, and that was enough to dry her hair, because the locks are thin. They're not micro locks, but they're on the thin side. So thinner locks dry faster, obviously, than thicker locks. And that's it for this video, guys. This is the result of her retwist and reattachment. Her hair looked absolutely beautiful. She loved it. I loved it. And that was a successful appointment. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. Thank you for all your positive feedback. Thank you for all the good things, all the positive vibes. And I'd like to sincerely apologize to all of you who support me and leave positive comments for ever taking time to address negative people, because a young lady checked me on that, and I respect her for doing that, and I agreed with her when I sat there and thought about it, that taking time to address the negativity is unfair to those of you who actually support and you are positive. So I apologize for that, and I hope you keep supporting. Although this channel was not made for anyone else or any type of popularity, I do realize that I do have a following, and I do appreciate you guys very, very much. Until the next time, bye guys.